Welcome back in, Frostburg State fans, to a new series of the Frostburg Sports Awards. We're kicking off 2022 with our Coach of the Week, Andrew Foltz from men's and women's swimming. Coach, you've had a great week coming back after that month off against West Virginia Wesleyan last weekend, and now this weekend sweeping both Salem and Alderson Broaddus in a tri-meet. Just looking at your team's overall performance, Salem a pretty good team in their own right and coming out with 2 wins out of that.
Yeah, it was very exciting to see that. We're performing well for where we're at right now in the season. We're coming off of coming back to campus, 3 weeks of training, very hard, challenging. That's basically is our training camp 2 days pretty much for 3 weeks straight. So the swimmers should be a little bit tired, fighting through fatigue a little bit, but they go and race and step up and swim very fast and do really well.
You mentioned that little bit of a month off where you had the Yellow Jacket Invitational at the beginning of December and then didn't have another meet until last week, as mentioned, against West Virginia Wesleyan. How was it to get the swimmers back and motivated? They had the Christmas break, the New Year's break, and getting them back into, like you said, doing those training days and getting them back into shape for these meets now.
Yeah, so after the Yellow Jacket Invitational there in the fall, we took a little bit of time off. The swimmers worked very hard all fall. A long season, coming back again, and we're still in season now. So that's some time for them to have off and kind of be on their own. Some of them go back home and train and swim and everything, but really focus on academics at that time and a little bit of a break. But yeah, we came back, kind of hit the ground running. There's not too much time to gradually get into stuff here this winter, this semester, with our conference meet coming up in just a little bit over about 3 weeks here. So kind of really hit the ground running with tough training, kind of bouncing back into shape, and then we'll get into the point where we'll start really gearing towards that conference meet here coming up pretty soon.
Couple of guys that also stood out in winning their events. Noah Loper, who won in a couple of freestyle events where he's really kind of made his name in the Conference Takes Notice, and the IM is kind of his specialty. But this year he's taken on more of the freestyles and led you guys to a couple of really, really big wins.
Yeah, so definitely in some of those freestyle events, especially mid-distance, that's kind of where he's really strong. We have a number of great swimmers, but not necessarily as much depth, so he can really step up big there. And then we'll kind of see going forward. Like you mentioned, IM has been kind of his bigger events as well, in addition to those mid-distance freestyle events and sprint freestyle. And some circumstances kind of forced him into needing to go towards freestyle here, and that might kind of be a focus for him going into the conference meet. But to his credit, he one of the hardest workers on the team, shows up every single day, puts his head down, and is always focused on what he can control and improving where he can, and hope do some big things here.
Another guy individually that has really just an entire season of growth and success, Nate Knapp, in the distance events, the 500, the 1,000-yard freestyle. He's really come in again as a freshman and kind of just taking control of a lot of these meets where he comes in first place, but even that, he kind of blows out the competition in some of them where it's not even close. And he's just added that element where you can almost put him out there and not necessarily, you don't have to coach him, but he knows what he's doing and you pretty much know what you're going to get out of him.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, coming in, we kind of knew he was a big-time distance swimmer for us. And once again, he really lived up to kind of where he was before with that, and even keeps growing and improving and exceeding expectations there. And there's just so much, as great as he is, as talented as he is, as fast as he is, there's still a lot of room for growth for him. So he's capable of doing incredible things here. Not only this year, kind of going into what he's done so far and into the conference meet, but especially as he keeps growing during his time here.
We go on to the women's team, and they've really gone on a run here recently where haven't lost since the first tri-meet of the season against Millersville, have won every single meet since, and they've really come together in a group that, like you said a little bit earlier in the season, they've surprised some people where, they were looking from the outside and thinking, well, the men's team is going to be really good. There's some question marks about the women's team, but they've really stepped up in a big way. And once again, Lydia Nebbiolo is one of those swimmers where this time she's stepped up in a couple more events, and just the versatility, breaking another school record for her as well.
Yeah, so definitely, after that first try meet, kind of the rest of the meets we've had so far, I think our not only the swimmers at the top end of events and then our relays really stand out, but just the depth we have on the women's side. It was really important in those dual meets and then also when we go to our championship meet. So we're really excited. There's a lot of great opportunity for them here kind of coming up going forward. And yeah, on that note, obviously like Lydia kind of keeps impressing. She actually never swam like I don't believe the 1,000 freestyle or the mile ever before coming in here. So it's always those are kind of new events for her. So she just keeps improving and it really making her mark on the program in those events.
Another individual, and we keep talking about the individuals, also want to point out the relays, but Kendall Hooper, who we're going to talk to a little bit later on as our female athlete of the week, has really come in, and her and Lydia, both as freshmen, have really just made their stamp on this team and on the conference in terms of Lydia, obviously, in the distance events and any freestyle that she really does, and Kendall, especially in the butterfly, she's really come in and made a difference and picked up a lot of key victories over the season for this team in those events specifically, but also, again, helping out in the relays.
Yeah, definitely both very strong contributors for the team. They're kind of two that we kind of can throw into events we know where we need them. They're going to win. And definitely Kendall has been. Her events are very challenging, the ones she excels at. But once again, it kind of speaks to like her hard work, and she's always keeps fighting, putting her head down, going forward in those events. She's kind of starting to, throughout the year, keeps progressing very well. I mentioned just challenging events. This past Saturday, she swam a very difficult double, the 200 freestyle and then 200 fly. And she was so exhausted at the end of that fly, but just put her head down and found a way to get it done. So it might be like one of the top races of the year so far, definitely in the dual meets. Like just how that finished. And that's a testament to her hard work and toughness and how, what we can expect out of her and or she is capable of going forward.
Talked about some individuals, but from a team aspect, and something that stood out to me as I'm looking at this stuff is that the youth of this team is really the driving force. A lot of the freshmen and sophomores kind of carry the results, but then you got some senior leadership as well from juniors and seniors, and some of the sophomores have also stepped up. I look at Liz Perry, Francesca Crevois-Surratt, and Summer Mastandria, where they'll get some individual victories here and there, but really it's in the team events that they contribute, and then just getting the results in behind some of those lead runners. I noticed Summer got a couple of second place finishes, but those are really key in a close meet like this against Salem, where they have a sort of a natural leadership where maybe not quite as vocal as you would think natural leaders, but in terms of just motivating the team and getting the results you need.
Yeah, and to that point, every instrument's unique sport as well, where every single swimmer matters, every single individual race matters. Whether you're fighting for that like top spot, first place, second place, all the way down to there's so much scoring that goes on. So just it's focusing on like, doing the best that you can, and they know too that every single person has an opportunity to contribute in their role. So I think that's where they kind of step up and lead from that area of things. And as you mentioned, they just do a great job. It's a really good group. They always come in, work hard every single day, always focusing on getting better, and just doing what they can to contribute to the team. It's really important to the success we've had so far, and hopefully kind of some big things going forward.
We look ahead to next week in your final, essentially, tune-up before the conference championships, a home meet against Notre Dame College, who's one of the top teams in this conference. A lot of the coaches like yourself have recognized the talent that they have and what they can pose. Just speaking on terms of having a home meet, obviously last season and started this season, difficult not having fans being able to be up in the bleachers and watch some of the swimmers. But to be able to have that and with the home meet last week being canceled, what will it mean to this team and to you to be able to have parents and fans back in the stands and cheering the swimmers on?
It means like everything, kind of going through this year, you really recognize that difference. Even though we haven't been here at home, traveling on the road, having families and parents and friends being able to go watch the meets, something that we weren't able to have last year. That just means everything. And as for them, there's like the precious moments of being able to watch their brothers, sisters, children being able to swim. Especially, for some of the seniors, kind of the last round through, going through everything is really important. So we're really looking forward to this Saturday. Our first home meet, we had a great crowd. The stands were packed. We're looking forward to that again, especially on this will be our senior day, so recognizing our seniors. We're really looking forward to being able to have them here. And once again, being able to have parents here for senior day is something very special for us. So excited for that.
All right, well, Coach, I want to thank you for coming on today and coming to talk with us. Obviously, students coming back, they're in classes now, and you have a whole new focus to have with your meets coming back in. But we appreciate you being here, and congratulations once again on your wins.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, well, stay tuned. Next up, we'll continue with swimming. Kendall Hooper is our female athlete of the week, so stay tuned. And as always, go Bobcats. All right, back here on the Frostburg Sports Awards, and we're back with Kendall Hooper, who's our female athlete of the week. Kendall, a big result for you guys, the 2 wins against Salem and Alderson Broaddus over the weekend. Just want to get some of your thoughts on your overall performance and the team as well.
Well, I was surprised with how I did. As Andrew was saying, he gave me a more challenging meet. I swam my first event, 200 free. For that event, I just wanted to maybe cruise a little bit, not put all my effort towards it, because I had my 2 fly right after. I got about maybe 5 minutes of rest and then had to go up. For my 200 fly, I felt really tired, but my result was still good. Then right after that, I had my 100 fly 10 minutes later. For that, I was really surprised with my result. I got my season best. And yeah, overall, I was just kind of surprised how I did, even though I was really tired, all that. So.
You did mention putting you into that 200 free and then the 200 fly back to back, of the amount of tax that puts on your body. And was it just one of those moments where it's that drive just to try and help the team and help yourself to victories, that you just kind of kept going, even though, maybe if you're doing this in practice, you're like, man, Coach, I can't do this. But when it gets to the meet in that competition, you're like, you know what, I can do this. And you just push yourself even when you don't think you have anything left.
Yeah, in my 200 fly, at the beginning of the race, when I started, I wasn't doing very good. I was like, oh God, this is going to be bad. The girl I was racing was also very ahead of me. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to win this. And I kind of felt bad when I was doing my race, because I was like, I'm so tired. I don't know if I can pull this off. And then, on the last lap of the race, I saw the girl. And I was like, let's just see what I can put into this last lap, and I ended up winning. So
for yourself coming into this year, talk a little bit to Andrew about the team aspect and some of the youth that's sort of leading this team in terms of getting the results. But in terms of leadership from some of the sophomores, it's not a very experienced team. It's only a couple of juniors and seniors, but the girls that were here last year and you coming in with a couple of other freshmen, you've really kind of bonded as a team and won a good majority of your relays. But for you yourself coming in, what's it been like to get adjusted to the college meet schedule and learning some of the teammates and some of their nuances and how they compete?
Well, coming in, I feel like it's all been kind of easy. Everyone makes me feel comfortable. All my teammates are really supportive. If I'm having a bad meet, they're always there to lift me up. Practice-wise, they're always supporting me, pushing me to my limits, all of that stuff. So.
One of your teammates that we've brought up a few times and we've interviewed in Lydia Nebbiolo, where you both kind of get the headlines in terms of you usually pick up the most individual wins in a meet. Lydia's broken a couple school records here now. Is she sort of a source of motivation for you guys, where she's breaking some of these long-standing records that you guys can go out and be like, you know what, I'm going to try and get, maybe not some of these school records, but my own personal records, and do the best that I can, where even just if they're not a vocal leader necessarily, but viewing them swimming and their motivation, their practices and habits, that you can be like, I can go out there and do the same for myself as well.
Yeah, I look at Lydia and she definitely gives me a lot of motivation to do my best. And, seeing her at practice, we do different sets. She's obviously a distance swimmer. I'm more a mid-distance. So, her being there definitely does help me. Seeing her do well helps me, motivates me, so, yeah.
One other thing that we've talked about with Andrew in terms of your guys' versatility, where he's mentioned you don't have a ton of depth in all areas. So some people have to step up and do events that they're not used to. Lydia's done the backstroke, you've done the freestyle, and obviously the specialty in the butterfly. But the point where in practices you guys can try out these different strokes and be like, well, I can help the team compete here, even if it might not be my best event. It's where the team needs me most.
So at practice, like I don't necessarily do like all fly. Like I try to mix it up because I am an IMer. With all the different strokes, like to be honest, I can do like everything, but there are certain strokes like I do excel at, like fly, obviously, IM, obviously, breaststroke, not so much, but I can still do it, you know. So
Is part of the the whole workaround with in terms of it. Speaking in terms of overall and coming into this next week, it'll be a home meet for the first time since October, and really the first time seeing fans in the stands. Obviously, senior year of high school, it was a little bit different with COVID coming in, and sort of restricting some things. But to have those fans in the stands and be able to watch you guys swim, the atmosphere it creates, what is that going to mean to you guys as swimmers to be able to have that back here at the Bobcat Natatorium?
yeah, I think it's gonna be great. For me personally, like my parents are able to come, they can watch me. Like in high school, I didn't get that privilege last year. They were able to come to my senior meet, but they missed like everything else because of spectator rules. So I think it is gonna be like pretty motivating to have everyone come in and watch and cheer.
As we start to wrap up and looking ahead past that meet into the conference championships, we talked in the preseason with Andrew about sometimes for you guys, it's not necessarily about your meet that's happening that day, but getting the best times for you guys to get seeding and see how you're going to fare at the conference championships. Is that a balance that you guys have to deal with in terms of, well, I want to do well and help the team win this individual meet, but I've also got to be thinking about, well, where am I best helping out and where is my best times going to be when it comes to the conference championships, which is really going to be the biggest meet of the year?
Andrew has been putting me in my events that I'm gonna be doing at Champs a lot. In terms of like what I'm gonna swim at Champs, like it's gonna probably be fly events, IM events, but like the past weekend he put me in more challenging events just to get me used to what I'm gonna be doing at Champs, because at Champs we have a lot more, it's like a week long, like he's preparing me for that meet. So like throughout the whole season I've been doing all these different events just to prepare me for this one meet, you know.
All right, Kendall, well, thank you for coming on today to join us. Obviously, we've got classes starting back up here at Frostburg, and you've got a full practice schedule and meets, but we really appreciate you being here. I want to congratulate you on last weekend and wish you the best of luck, certainly this upcoming weekend and also at the conference championship meets, in case we don't see you again, but thank you once again.
Thanks for having me.
All right, stay tuned, and our last athlete of the week will be Canaan Bartley from men's basketball. He is our male athlete of the week, so thank you for tuning in. All right, Frostburg State fans, wrapping up our first week of the 2022 Sports Awards, we have Canaan Bartley, who's our male athlete of the week. He had a couple of really good games and a win against West Virginia Wesleyan and a very close loss against number 14 Fairmont State on Saturday. Canaan, I just want to get some of your overall thoughts on your performance and the team's performance in both games this past week.
I think for the Virginia Wesleyan game specifically, it was a tough start for us, but we were able to come together and win a tough second half. Figure out, the zone they were in and, make shots ultimately. And then with Fairmont State, it was a close game, like you said, all throughout. We just couldn't pull it out through the end. I mean, we played hard, and it's definitely the direction we want to go, finishing the season.
Wanted to talk about sort of your career here at Frostburg State, coming as a graduate transfer from Maryland Eastern Shore, and just sort of finding your way with the new team. And when you came, this team had brought in a lot of transfers, a lot of new faces from the previous year. You've got a new head coach. So how has it been over the past about year or so, year and a half of just learning this new team, new system, and getting to kind of gel with one another?
I want to say it's been a little bit of a challenge, with COVID and everything like that. It's been hard to kind of, learn every guy, gel with every guy. But, I think we did the best we could, with what we had. And I've grown to, know these guys a little bit, get chemistry with them, each one of them, the coaches as well. So I think, although it's been challenging, we've had success over the my 2-year period here, and I'm enjoying it.
There's been a real sort of collectiveness, it seems like, this year. Not to say there wasn't last year, but there were some games last year in which one or two things would go wrong, and then things kind of fell off the wheels. Where this year, it seems like you can take sort of those punches in the mouth and just keep going with them and get back into things. And a prime example of that was on Wednesday against Wesleyan, where you guys just couldn't seem to get the ball in the basket in the first half. Second half, you come out and you score 51 points on them and to come out and win the game.
Right. And I think that's all to having a complete season. Like I said before, last year was COVID. It was a short season. We had to jam pack a lot of things into 16 games, which is tough for anybody. So having a complete season, 2 halves, trying to put things together, we've found a way to win games and gel.
In that game against Wesleyan, kind of harping on it, but the first half, it just seemed like the offense wasn't exactly clicking. You yourself didn't attempt a shot, only had 1 free throw made. In the second half, you got 12 of your 13 points. Torrance Stevens came up with a big game, got some big offensive rebounds. What was it in that second half that really pulled you guys together? Was it a halftime talk in the locker room? Was it coming out for the moments and you're like, you know what, we should be beating this team, and then coming out and doing just that?
I think a little bit of both. Halftime, coaches spoke to us, told us, what we were doing wrong, what needed to happen, and then, just coming down to us, individuals, as a team, just saying, we're better than this team, and go out and win the game. So, coming out, being assertive, Torrance being assertive, making layups, getting rebounds for us, just other individuals just taking it personal that, we shouldn't just be losing this game and going out there and winning it, period.
Going into Saturday, you guys really, I think, surprised a lot of people. Colin, who's our broadcaster, and myself were sitting up in the stands and commentating on you guys broadcasting the game. And, it was just that first half especially just was such a fun game to watch. And did you guys feel that on the floor? Were you able to have any fun, or was it just the competitiveness of it that, you guys thought, number 14 team in the country, one of the best teams in the conference, but we're hanging with them all the way, just going back and forth the entire time?
Yeah, I think whenever you're having fun and, playing good basketball, you can always feel it, feel the energy, feel what, what you're doing on the court as an individual and as a team. So we definitely felt that. I think we shot over 50% for the game. So, during the game, you definitely feel that. Guys making shots, guys making the right plays, defending. To your question, we definitely feeling. You want to play like that every game. Every game is not going to go like that, but it's a part of basketball. It's a game of runs. Taking those punches and trying to get to that feeling of making shots and playing just right basketball to hopefully end up in a win.
You talked about not every game is going to go like that, and Fairmont really has had the upper hand in this individual matchup the past couple of years. Last year was a couple of 24-point wins for them. So to come out and you guys were within a couple of points here and there, got up to an early lead on them actually in the first half, and it's just they're that type of team where they find ways to win, even though you guys played your tails off. But to be able to compete with them and only lose by that amount, to show that you can compete, what does that say about this team's growth, just even over the past year?
I think it says that we've grown up. As a team. We're very young last year. A lot of freshmen got first time playing college basketball. And this year we got some guys first time playing college basketball. So even from last semester to now, we have guys that's grown up. Taking the coaching, understanding the game at a better level. You know what I'm saying? So I think it says a lot. How we accept coaching as a group, and you saw it on Saturday. You took that step. So
one of the big individual matchups of that game, and one that Colin and I kept our eye on, was yourself against Isaiah Sanders. And Sanders is the second leading scorer of the conference going into that game. You guys held him to almost his half of what he averages for the season, and a big part of that was you guys both you and him were going one-on-one on offense and defense for a few possessions, and just going back and forth. Does it motivate you going up against a guy like that, where you both have super high motors to know that if I even take 1 or 2 plays off, he's going to burn me, so I got to keep it going the entire game and not taking anything off?
Yeah, it definitely motivates you. A guy like him, a very good player, second leading scorer in the conference, like you said. So you want to put your best foot forward. Every play, every possession. I think as a team we did a good job. Containing him. Those possessions I was ISO'd on him. I think I did a pretty good job, just making it tough for him to make shots. He made some shots. He's a good player. He's gonna do that. But I think as a team, we made it very tough, and it definitely motivates me, each and every game to, try to go out and put my best foot forward.
And he made some shots. You made some shots as well. Some really tough ones at that with the pull-up jumpers. Looking ahead up to this next week, a couple of tough games for you guys against Charleston and West Virginia State. And another talking point that we brought up on the broadcast is that you've now seen every single team in this league, and you're going into the second matchups for the home and homes. What is it that you guys are going to prepare for now? You have the full scouting report. You've played them once. You know what they're going to run for the most part. To compete against two teams that have previously lost this year, but as we saw last year, this team beat West Virginia State, surprised a lot of people, and Charleston, another one of the good teams in the conference. But bringing that surprise like you did on Saturday and showing this league that, we're not one of the pushover teams. You're not going to be able to blow us out like maybe they could in the past. And again, speaking of that togetherness and your guys willing to compete, especially after this past week.
Right. I mean, I think for us, we're going to focus on us. Everything starts with us. Focus on what we need to do offensively, focus what we need to do defensively. And I think ultimately when we focus on that, it's going to result in victory for us. Along with that, we focus on, our opponent, what we did last game against them, what didn't work well, what did work well against, those teams specifically. And, try to add or don't add to those, those things that, didn't or did work for us. So, focusing on those little things, I think, is what we need to prepare for coming up, these next couple games.
Well, Canaan, I want to thank you for coming on today. Obviously, you've got classes now starting back up with the spring semester. You guys have the games coming in now thick and fast, but really appreciate you being here and want to congratulate you on the fine week that you had and continue to wish you luck going forward.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Logan. Thank you for having me.
All right, well, stay tuned as next week we'll have some more athletes and a new coach. We're glad to have the Sports Awards back. So, as always, go Bobcats.